College, a time in everyone's life when we want to look our best, right? Fancy shoes, new branded clothes, jackets, latest iPhone and whatnot. But things were quite different for me. Since I was from a lower middle class family, I could say a poor family, finances in our home were always tight. We adjusted on anything and everything, but luckily my father, a small businessman, never adjusted on one thing, and that was my education. He borrowed but somehow managed to send me to one of the best colleges in Chennai to pursue my architecture degree. It was a proud feeling for all of us. Everyone, including me, was happy. But somewhere deep inside, I was really fearful and was feeling very insecure. But I hardly knew at that time I was very soon going to fall and learn about the middle class traps. So in my college, almost all the students came from rich or at least upper middle class families. They used to wear all the latest branded clothes, Adidas and Nike shoes, carry all fancy gadgets, iPhone, MacBooks. Some students even used to come in cars and super bikes. On the other side, here I was carrying my old dusty bag from school time, wearing same clothes I've been wearing from years, and yes, an old Nokia phone. I used to keep it silent, so obviously in college I was made fun of due to my looks and every old thing I used to bring. I tried to ignore all this, but naturally all this behavior developed some inferiority complex in me. I used to avoid everyone, and to keep myself deviated from all this and help my family with finances, I even started doing my second-hand electronics flipping business. By next 2 years, I managed to save around 80,000 rupees. By hearing all this, you might be thinking that Abu is great, he is an ideal person and we should try and become like him. But that's where I made one of the biggest stupid grave mistake of my life. After all the embarrassment I faced in college, just to feel good about myself, to prove myself in front of people, I borrowed money from few friends and bought this 15-year-old Contessa car. Finally, I had something in life about which I can boast. I remember I was so excited when I first took it to the college, my close friends congratulating me, everyone in my locality seeing me with jealousy. But I am not sure whether it was real jealousy, that how could a college kid drive a car? I was in cloud 9. All this happiness faded away in the next 3 months. I literally got shifted from heaven to hell. I understood that I had fallen into a very common middle class trap of buying things to impress others. Now, buying a car and maintaining it are two different things. When I had to constantly arrange money for car EMI, petrol, parking and lots of maintenance, as this car was 15 years old, my car, which made me happy, started looking like a burden. And I was really lucky to make the decision of not to remain in this trap. With a very heavy heart, I sold my car and bared a loss of around 50,000 rupees. There are many more mistakes I made, but this money loss, or I would say my learning fees, which I paid, taught me a crucial lesson in life. I learned that there are many middle class traps where majority of people fail and are never able to rise up again. Their whole life is wasted, and thus it is very necessary for you to know what are these traps are and how you should avoid these. So in my last 10 years of my business journey, I have experienced and avoided many such middle class traps, and today in this video, I have compiled all my learnings of last 10 years into these 7 middle class traps which you should definitely avoid. Have you heard about an interesting psychological experiment conducted during an interview? So during an interview of an MNC company, 3 dummy candidates were planted in the interview waiting area for experiment. Whenever a bell was ringing, these 3 candidates would stand up and then they would sit down. Now, as the original candidates started to arrive, they saw the strange behavior of these 3 candidates. They kept sitting for few rounds of bells, but soon, accepting this to be a social norm of this company, they too started to get up and sit down with the sound of bells. Soon, many new candidates came in, and within few minutes, they all started following the suit. After some time, the 3 dummy candidates were removed from the waiting area, and still everyone in the room was following this strange thing. When the company manager approached the waiting area and asked few candidates why they are doing this, they did not have any answer. They told they were doing it because everyone else was. That's exactly the first middle class trap. We need to protect ourselves from this. Stop living in a zombie land. How many times we just buy some new phone, new clothes, go to some vacation or do something which we are not even liking, only to make sure we do not feel separated out, we do not feel left out. It's a big trap. And nowadays, due to Facebook and Instagram, we are constantly made to feel that everyone is enjoying in life, we are the only failure, and thus we start doing crazy things. We buy things we don't want, we go to places we don't feel like going to, and we eat food from places and brands we know are overcharging us. All this just to show off? And this one trap leads majority of people to the other deeper trap, which is, you must have heard interest-free EMIs, right? I'm sure you must have bought also something from Amazon on interest-free EMIs. It seems very intelligent to do so, right? Have you ever thought a bank whose only source of income is interest money, why and how it could give something free of cost? So let me tell you, nothing in life comes for free. The bank is being paid by the merchant, and the merchant, he pays it by decreasing the discount he would have otherwise given you. So there is no real benefit you get while buying on so-called interest-free EMIs. But you are made to feel as if you have made a very wise and intelligent decision, which is exactly a middle class trap, the EMI effect, which numbs your brain from thinking properly. You have fallen into a trap and you are very happy thinking that you did something intelligent. I should not be saying this, but even the government support majority of people to fall into this trap by offering income tax rebates on home loans interest payment, and most people who are in no position to afford a home buys one on loan just feeling that they made a financially sound decision. Now, when I generally say people not to fall for EMI effect, they get angry and say, Abu, how can we buy even a 1 BHK in Chennai without loans? How can we buy cars without loans? Even an Alto car costs more than 5 lakhs these days. And they are right also, because things are becoming ridiculously expensive to a point where most of the people are not able to even afford the lowest models of car and house, even though you are working so hard in an MNC or top government companies. Well, that's because you are stuck in another middle class trap, which is, as per survey conducted by American Journal of Preventive Medicine, if any of the parents smokes, the chances of their children smoking increases by 1.7 times. Similar thing must be true with alcohol as well. So, there are always two outcomes in such families. Either the kid follows the parents, smokes and suffers, or having seen any of their parents suffer from some breathing issues or even cancer, after seeing they decide to refrain from smoking. Now, in my case, luckily no one smoked. But I can relate this smoking study in terms of mediocrity. Right from childhood, I always saw my father, my uncle, they used to take all the mediocre decisions one can ever take. They never went for business expansions, they never tried to launch some different product, never tried anything new, and things thus never changed for us. We always remained poor, and thus I decided strongly that whatever may happen, I will never accept mediocrity. I will never be like my father. Let me tell you about an interesting experiment conducted on frogs. When you put a frog in a boiling water pan, it immediately jumps off to save its life. But if you keep the same frog in cold water pan and start slowly heating that pan, the frog do not jump. It starts adjusting its body temperature, and by the time water is near boiling point, it has used up all its energy for temperature adjustment. There is no strength left to make that final jump. When we hear this story, we simply feel that the frog, being an animal, having no brain, was foolish to stay there, waiting for its death. But surprisingly, most of us are similar to that frog. When was the last time you gave 3 complete hours to think about earning more money than you currently are? We all watch 3 hours movie, we binge watch the web series, but we hardly ever give 3 straight hours for ourselves for improving our own movie, our life. And that's because we have become numb like that frog by falling into this third middle class trap, which is accepting mediocrity, being content with the status quo. We too are adjusting to every situation by giving excuses, and we are not working to improve ourselves, our skills, our value. Breaking out of this trap is quite simple. Just accept that you need to improve your current situation and start improving yourself. Start learning skills that will help you earn more. Start thinking about new business ideas. Look around and get inspiration, maybe to start a new YouTube channel, or start a digital marketing agency to help the restaurants in your neighborhood to gain presence in social media. Do anything, but don't remain a frog in that gradually heating bowl of water. Having understood this, another trap you must avoid is, in my recent trip to Mumbai, I met a friend of mine who's into paper business. I was at his factory when a sales guy from a big firm came there. Since my friend was a bit busy, he started talking in general. We started with my business and finally reached to topics of personal finance. He said with confidence that just in 7 years of experience, he is earning more than 1 lakh as salary. I was really impressed and happy for him. But when I asked him where he is investing his money, he told something which made me realize that he is actually in a middle class trap, which is flying without a parachute, or in general terms, living paycheck to paycheck. He told that he could only manage to save 4,000 rupees for a SIP in mutual funds, and rest of the money, he doesn't even know how fast it comes and goes away. Now, we must have all seen those jokes around middle class people. How they bargain with the small vegetable vendors to get some extra dhania, or how they use that old clothes for making them mops. We all see those and laugh at ourselves, which is fine. We should try to save our hard-earned money. But if you see those financially sound, money-minded people, you will observe a complete different picture when it comes to investing. You always hear middle-class people say that they want a secure job, they don't want to do business as it's risky. But actually, they are the ones who are flying without a parachute. They are the ones who have no backup income, no skills and no savings. If their only source of income, their job is lost, they have nothing to show off. Thus, to avoid falling into this trap, exactly this is what needs to be done, which wise people are doing. Start learning about financial literacy. Start making financially sound decisions, and you can also follow my personal trick to remain on track. I every day spend 5 minutes after my dinner just to learn something new related to finance. It can be any podcast summary, any lesson of book, or simply thinking about some new innovative ways to teach me some personal finance. So once your finances are sorted, you need to save yourself from another common middle class trap, which is, I joined a 15,000 rupees job when my restaurant business failed. Yes friends, when I graduated from my college and failed in my restaurant business, I could not think of anything else but to bring money for paying the bills for next 30 days. Since I was in dire need of money in those days, I joined a small construction company in Chennai and they used to pay me 15,000 rupees for a month, and I believe it's absolutely fine to do so to support your family. Now, this is where I was highly vulnerable to my next middle class trap, which is having a myopic vision. Now, I'm not saying that middle class people have a weak eyesight, though it's a good idea for someone to do research about it. What I mean by this middle class trap of myopic vision is the short-term view in almost every field of life. Be it salary, be it education, or even some family or medical problem. Middle class people looks for a temporary fix rather than a permanent cure. And this keeps on happening throughout the life. But I did not fall into the trap because I had a longer vision. I was clear that this 15,000 rupees job is a temporary thing I'm doing, and within a year, I will try my new business by learning all the business skills required. I actually did that. I left this job in 7 months and launched my new business of interior designing, which is now the biggest cash flow business for me. Thus, if you're also stuck in this 9 to 5 paycheck to paycheck job, it's absolutely fine. Just be there. Keep planning. Have your exit plan ready. Start doing some side hustle, utilize your weekends, and with a proper vision to break this trap, you will soon start getting innovative ideas to leapfrog to next level in your life. Now, if you're feeling inspired and ready to make a long-term vision, avoid another middle class trap, which is,
I'm a good computer programmer. Good. You pay the highest taxes, you work the hardest, you don't get ahead that way. But that's what most people, they want to do it on their own. If you want it done right, do it by yourself. And an employee is always saying the same words this year and this year. I'm looking for a safe, secure job with benefits and a paycheck, pension. That's what they're looking for. If I have a job and a self-employed person says, how are you doing? I'm the best. Good, I'll hire the best.
Robert Kiyosaki, the great author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, is saying in this video that a middle class person looks for these 3 things after completing the college. And they are fixed monthly income, job security, and no risk. Most of the people, they happily accept a job offer when these criteria are satisfied. But after a year, when the salary hike is low, bonus are low, they keep saying this thing. The company is making 200% profit, the owners are becoming millionaires, buying expensive cars, and what I have got? Just 10% hike? This is quite a common business scenario, and you know why this happens? It's because of the mindset of embracing risk. Let's say, suppose the company you're working for goes bankrupt or makes huge loss. What will you do? Of course, you will change your job and move to other company. But for the owner, it's do or die thing. Thus, it's the owner who deserves the largest chunk of profit. Adopting this mindset is very difficult for middle class people, and thus, if you want to break this trap, you need to understand, to grow exponentially, you need to take exponential risk, and risk is inversely proportional to your age. So, if you are someone in your early 20s or even 30s, it's the time. Take that risk which you always wanted to. Even if you fall, you won't have much to lose and can anytime return back to a job like I did after my business failure. Having said this, the last trap is the mother of all middle class trap, and if you can't break this trap, and I'm sure you will never be able to break any other traps I just explained till now. If you have reached to this last trap, I'm sure you must have felt that what new Abu has told me. I already knew all these things. I know I should invest, I should take risks, I should make a budget, and I should not live an average mediocre life. Agreed. You know everything. But then why you are still at the same place you were in last year? Why you don't have plans for next day, next week, next month and next year? And how will you grow yourself, your business or your ideas? You might say that, yes Abu, I agree. I've tried this all many times, but I do it for some days and then I again become that frog waiting and adjusting in that hot water. I'm not able to take action. So don't worry. If you're accepting that you need to change, that's the first success. If you want to know how you should stop wasting your life, how you should take charge of this condition, I would suggest you to watch this video where you'll learn all these 7 things you should immediately stop doing, which will help you to start taking action. So see you there. Till then, stay happy, stay rich. Bye.